The Gilded Age was a period of rapid economic growth and industrialization in the United States from the late 1870s to the early 1900s. During this time, a small group of families amassed vast fortunes in the oil, steel, railroads, and other industries. These families became known as the robber barons because of their ruthless business practices and their extravagant lifestyles. Here are 9 of the most influential families of the Gilded Age. The Vanderbilt. The Vanderbilts were a family of Dutch origin who made their fortune in the shipping and railroad industries. Cornelius Vanderbilt, the patriarch of the family, was one of the richest men in the world at the time of his death in 1877. It is estimated that at the time of his death, he had a net worth of nearly $185 billion. He was also a renowned philanthropist, but after his death, instead of adding more wealth into it, his descendants preferred to live an ultra-luxurious life and ended up losing it all. The Rockefellers. The Rockefellers were a family of German origin who dipped their hands in the oil industry and ended up making millions. John D. Rockefeller, the patriarch of the family, founded Standard Oil, which at one time was the largest oil company in the world. He is also renowned as the first billionaire in American history. The Rockefellers used their wealth to support a variety of philanthropic causes, including education, medicine, and social welfare. They are still one of the most influential families in the U.S., with a wealth of $11 billion distributed among 70 heirs. The Carnegies. The Carnegies were a family who came to the U.S. from Scotland and enlisted their name in the billionaires of those times. Instead of investing in transportation or banking, they made their fortune from the steel industry. Andrew Carnegie, the patriarch of the family, founded Carnegie Steel, which at one time was the largest steel company in the world. This company is widely renowned as the base of the U.S. Steel Corporation. Instead of keeping the company to himself, he sold it to J.P. Morgan and became the richest person to exist. Carnegie used his wealth to support a variety of philanthropic causes, including education, libraries, and peace initiatives. It is said that he gave away 90% of his wealth. That makes nearly $6 billion. In this way, the fortune of the Carnegies came to an end. The Morgans. Let's talk about the family who bought Carnegie's steel industry. No one but the finance-loving Morgans. The Morgans were a family that originated from Wales who made their fortune in banking and finance. J.P. Morgan initiated this business that led the family's worth $35 to $80 billion in today's money. He was one of the most powerful bankers in the world, competing with the Rothschilds. He helped to finance the construction of the Panama Canal and the creation of the Federal Reserve System. His descendants weren't as good as him, so the banks were sold and much information about them isn't available these days. The Goulds. The Goulds were a family of Irish origin who made their fortune in the railroad industry. Jay Gould, the patriarch of the family, was one of the most ruthless businessmen of the Gilded Age. He saw the potential of the railroad industry and invested in it at first. He was a target of public outrage for his business practices, but he kept spreading his business across Canada, the U.S., the United Kingdom, and Scotland. Now the name Gould is spread all across the United Kingdom. The Astors. Real estate is still considered as a highly rewarding business, but imagine you spotted this potential a couple of centuries earlier. That's what the Astors did. The Astors were a family of German origin who made their fortune in real estate. John Jacob Astor was one of the wealthiest men in the world at the time of his death in 1885. His descendants continued to build the family's wealth and influence, and they remain one of the wealthiest families in the United States today. The Whitneys. Next on this list, we have got the Whitneys. Where most of the influential families had non-American origin, the Whitneys originated from America, who made their fortune in the shipping and mining industries. William Collins Whitney, the patriarch of the family, was not only interested in wealth, he was a powerful figure in New York state politics. Then his daughter, Gertrude Vanderbilt Whitney, took care of his legacy, and she was a well-known sculptor and art collector. The Fricks. The Fricks were a family of German origin settled in America who made their fortune in the coke and steel industries. Henry Clay Frick, the patriarch of the family, was a fierce businessman who was known for his violent labor practices. He was a major art collector, and his collection is now housed in the Frick Collection in New York City. The Harrimans. The Harrimans were a family who made their fortune in the railroad industry, just like the Goulds. E. H. Harriman was the son of a minister who brought his wealth into the family. He was a powerful railroad executive who helped to consolidate the railroad industry. He was much interested in attaining power, so he prepared his son, Averell Harriman, for it. Averell was a diplomat, politician, and above all, a renowned businessman. After his death, no other descendants were worthy enough to carry on their legacy. These were 9 of the most influential Gilded Age families who were a powerful force in American society. They used their wealth and influence to shape the course of the country, and their legacy continues to this day. Hopefully you liked it. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your fellows. Which family fascinates you the most? Let us know in the comments section.